because he knew what was going on, and he's been there and he's experienced, and that was the one place that was Obama's Achilles heel. And if he hadn't stepped up and made people believe that I can handle this, I'm not going to get us blown up, that would have damaged him immensely.
Yeah, you're right. The economy saved Obama, and the fact that if McCain had picked someone like Romney, he would have had a better shot with the economic trials going on. I understand why he picked Palin. But, yeah, you were right. He could get Obama on saying, the surge in having a double standard with the surge in Iraq and a surge in Afghanistan. There were a lot of positions there that, there was no consistency. And so we'll see. This is another issue, like with the economy and now with foreign policy. We will see. We have no clear record of what he's going to do. He has one of the most liberal voting records, but, he talked about unifying the country and so far his cabinet has, in a lot of ways, displayed that. So maybe he's abandoned
his
that.
His biggest crisis will be he'll have to face. The promises he will break will be promises he made to the political left, and he'll have to face their wrath.
But I really hope he goes left at least some, because then that would be so good for Republicans. Because he's
not going to do it. He's too smart.
Right, but I said, people are going to be looking for the government right now for a lot of things, and the government will not be able to deliver. And the thing is, the Republicans here have a good opportunity to jump on that and say, look, just because Obama won didn't mean this was a referendum on the country being more conservative. It was they were fed up with politics as usual.
If you look at Obama's voters voted against Prop 8. Obama voters voted to ban gay marriage in Florida and Arizona, but the majority of these Reagan Democrats have come back to the party because they feel that the Republican Party under Bush, while it kept the social positions they like, abandoned sort of its willingness to compromise with democratic economics.
So Tabitha, let's just say hypothetically, you are she's already very popular on the blogosphere with her conservative blog and everything. But let's say you have a little more sway. You are beyond Michelle Malkin and Ann Coulter in sway with the conservative branch of America. And how would you reorganize the party? In what direction? There are so many answers to this. It's so open. But what are certain things? What are certain things you would like to see?
I think the biggest problem is that there is no fiscal conservative. Period. We haven't seen a fiscally conservative candidate in a really long time. And, they throw the conservative has become synonymous with pro-life and anti-gay. That's pretty much what people think of when they think of a conservative at this point. And that's our biggest mission is education. We have to fix that because conservatives believe in so much more than that and stuff that is so much more fundamental and so much more common sense than the pro-life thing. It's so much bigger than that. And that's where the biggest failure has been in the GOP is that we have become liberals in that respect. Mm-hmm. And if we can't offer conservatives anything but a pro-life liberal, there's nothing there.
There's no difference. There's no option there.
There's no difference.
And I agree with you. I think, this is a problem. The fiscal area is our main problem. And this was something I talked with some of my libertarian friends this last summer because libertarians who have the fiscal message do a terrible job spreading the message. Because I'll admit it, I'm somewhat libertarian. They're hoity-toity and they're intellectual snobbery, thinking, I know, of course it works out, of course you don't want the minimum wage. But then instead of saying, listen, we want to help the working poor, instead of some kid from a middle-class family working at a retail job by increasing the earned income tax credit instead of the minimum wage, that's not happening. It's how we frame our debate and our message. We've abandoned one of the key voting blocks of the Republican Party from a century ago, African Americans who are socially conservative, and we do have this position and stances to message to them that doesn't use them politically like the Democrats do every single dang election.
Yeah.
I think this year we finally delivered, but
no, school choice, which Obama's starting to advocate more school choice and
look at his education secretary.
These are things that the Republicans should be jumping on. These are things when we look, and I felt like the delivery of the message has been so poor, and I agree with you that social issues are important in this country. But I think a lot of times federalism is one example, is one way that we could help the debate and have that kind of more united bond in the party. And
I heard somebody say one time that libertarians are Republicans that'll never win an election. And I was like, it's all, so much of it is about communication. And we've been slammed. I mean, that's part of the GOP's problem, and we've suffered this from the liberal side as well. Is they're going to take any candidate we have and just tell us that they're stupid.
Right.
And we saw the best example of that was Sarah Palin. But I mean, you go back to Bush and you go back to Dan Quayle and all these big Republican candidates that have come out in the past 20 years. They can't find anything on them, so they're like, oh, they're stupid.
Right.
And it's because of the communication. Because the Conservative Party has valued small town, local, grassroots, whatever. And that's going to lend itself to smaller town politicians. And they come across very different than, an elite Ivy League lawyer. And that's just the way it is. And, Reagan was a communicator, and that was the last real conservative we had that was a stellar communicator.
Right. It's interesting to see, the shifts in economics in this country from FDR, who we already mentioned was a rhetorical genius himself, to Reagan, who's a rhetorical genius, to Obama. There's this common trend that whenever the country's in a bad shape, if some figure comes around that individuals can put their faith in, they'll shift the country.
Leadership.
I know. But that's the other problem. I have a serious problem with how much power we've given to the executive branch, regardless of party. And you're going to see, and the interesting thing is, you're going to have all these complaints. Everyone complains about George Bush, but you're going to have Obama come to office, and a lot of their foreign policy actions, I think, and especially treaty actions and things like that. Right. They won't be ratified by the Senate. And there's a mindset in this country that has to be changed. I agree with communication. And what are some of the ways though? You and I, we use Twitter, and we both blog. What are other ways you think that the Republicans can change that?
I think social media has done amazing things for the Conservative Party, even in the past few months, just getting us on the same page. And that was part of our thing. We let stupid small issues, little social issues that are not going to win us an election, divide us, and we didn't work together. There were tons of Republicans that would not even vote for John McCain until Sarah Palin came on board. And which, I don't necessarily disagree with them, but we have to get some kind of base back, and we have to work together and build. And that's part of, I'm doing Smart Girl Politics right now. I've been very involved with them, and I love what they're doing. But it's not all about our small group, because our focus is obviously women in government and supporting the women that we think best represent our conservative values.
Right.
But we're also partnering with the Don't Go movement and the New Republicans and TCOT and all these other groups, grassroots groups that are focusing on different spaces within the conservative movement that are all getting each other on the same page. Right. And we're all starting to work together, and those leaders, we're all having conversations, and we have conference calls all the time, and we read each other's articles, and we all are trying to get on the same page and get ourselves working toward the same goal.
Right. I know. I agree. It's great. I've seen it too. And one of the things, though, there has been some worry, and and I probably worry about it as well, is that what the activism on the web groups 2.0, is that going to really flow into a general consensus nationwide in activism, because we have all these different little groups doing their own thing, which they might be energized with their message, but where's the input?
It's converting that internet rhetoric to legwork and getting people. And I think that's part of, that's why I started doing the radio shows and talking to people in that way, because it gets us away from the computer screen for a minute to listen and, engage in that way and just get people out of their offices, out of their bedrooms, wherever they're blogging from, and get them out in offices, get them talking to their public officials, get people campaigning, doing whatever they have to do to spread that message. And I'm hoping, my hope right now is that we can harness that energy and really throw our support behind some candidates and get ourselves on the same page and not be divided all over the place, because there's no way we're going to ever win an election that way.
Tabitha, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Anytime.
It was great to get your message to Obama's backyard. Be sure to check out www.pinkelephantpundit.com. Also, Smart Girl Politics. Get on Twitter, twitter.com/pinkelephantpun. And you can also check out on textdozier.com is, yes, from the deepest, most passionate parts of my heart, a political ode to my Twitter crush, Tabitha Hale.
Have a very happy birthday, too.
Have a happy birthday. Take care.